Big Bad Harmon, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Man.
How was your fourth, man?
It was good. It was pretty good. It was pretty low key. I've been without Quinn now for the week. He's at my parents, for just for the week, hanging out with them. So
I know because I called Mr. Born on the 4th of July.
Oh yeah, you called my dad the other day.
Nice. At about 8:30 in the morning.
Oh wow, that's good. He'd probably been up for 5 hours already.
No, he was just getting to your sister's condo.
Oh yeah, see, he's been up for a while. Yeah, they're maniacs there. They wake up early. Yeah, so fourth was good. Did you spend yours drunk like you told me you were?
I spent a good portion of the day drinking, yes.
Good for you. Good for you. Oh man.
Actually, it was we had an easy up set up in the lake, and I had my chair under that so I didn't get cooked.
Yeah,
I'm ever so white.
Yes, yeah, but your tan gets patchy, right? Is that what it is? Is that what you said?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, like
good for you.
Like right, like where like my tank top, like the top of the tank top is. It's like very red on either side of that strap. So
yeah, that's what happens when you're Irish and Scottish. Is that what you are?
Yep. Yeah, I'm allergic to sun.
Yeah, straight up allergic.
Seamus ain't got shit on me.
Yeah, fuck Seamus. Yep. Well, we've got a great show tonight. We are capping off our Wrestlers Laboratory Labnormal Series with the champ himself. Yeah.
Saved the best for last, folks.
Yeah, the Hitman for hire, Mr. Grimm, is on the show tonight. This is a guy who we've wanted to have on for a while. We've seen him a lot, like at Limitless Wrestling. We've seen him all over the place, and it just worked out. He is the Wrestlers Laboratory champion. He's taken on Joey Janella at Labnormal, and we thought, what better time to have him on this very podcast than our Wrestlers Laboratory Labnormal Series. So, yeah, capping it off. It's going to be...
Yeah, I didn't want to tell him this, but I kind of had forgot. We had been so entrenched in doing people from the Scramble and the other matches, and I didn't even think he'd want to be on the show, really. And then he sends me a message, like, right before we went on with Mike and Chris, and he's like, hey, when do I get to be on the show?
Yeah,
I was like...
I'm the goddamn...
I was like... shit. And then I messaged you and I was like, Grimm says he wants to be on the show, so he's going to be on the show next week.
When Grimm says he wants something, you give Grimm that something. He is a big, scary man, a big, scary hitman, and he's going to take it to Joey Janella. So we have Mr. Grimm on the show tonight. We're talking to him about just, kind of growing up, how he became Mr. Grimm, doing high school wrestling, playing semi-pro football, getting into some mixed martial arts and Muay Thai stuff, and then finally finding his way into pro wrestling. And then how the challenge of breaking in, finding a trainer, all that stuff. We cover all that with Mr. Grimm. And then we talk about really his match with Joey Janella and how he's going to kick the living fuck out of Joey Janella.
Yeah, he's a little disrespected.
He does feel disrespected. I would feel disrespected if I was the champ, and then I was the underdog in the match. Like, I would feel disrespected too. I think that's going to be like some bulletin board material for him. Like, he's going to turn it up a notch because of that. So, I wouldn't want to be Joey Janela right now. Or at least on Sunday in that match. So, and it's a body bag match. Have I not mentioned it's a body bag match? I mean, first ever. So it's going to be crazy. That match, that card, that whole shebang that Harmon and I are going to, it is going to be July 8th. It's at 4 p.m. It's at the Knights of Columbus, 106 Bergen Ave in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Harmon, you, me, MSP, we are driving out, renting a van, making the trek from here to Jersey.
I'm pretty sure Alexander Lee's going to sleep the whole way.
Yes, I think so. He seemed
like he was. Anything before noon. So,
well, we got to be there soon. We got to be there like ASAP. So we're heading out. let's see, real quick before we dive in with Grim. Let's hit some quick plugs. Strong Style Brand. You guys hear us talking about it all the time. StrongStyleBrand.com/main event pod. Go there. They've got an awesome summer line. They've got some really sick t-shirts, some shorts, everything you think of, tank tops, everything galore. Fill up your cart, get to checkout, enter the code main event pod. That's of course Maine with an E, main event pod at checkout. You're going to get 10% off, and you're welcome for that 10% off. And then thank you, because a little bit of that gets kicked back our way. So thank you, and you're welcome. Teespring, Harmon, tell the folks about Teespring.
Teespring's this great place where we post a link every once in a while, and then we like to sell some t-shirts. We have some ridiculously low price t-shirts on there. $12. I tell you, man, I've been getting contacted about those t-shirts a lot. People are like, hey, I'm gonna buy a t-shirt. Those look great. And I'm like, yeah, $12. You should buy a t-shirt. Come on. Yeah, we're literally making $0 on this.
We are giving these t-shirts away. Yes.
It is just covering the cost of the shirt and the ink.
Yeah, I love the way you put it on social media. You're like, that's because we love you crazy animals. We do, man. We love
I did it
listeners.
Because I get sick and tired of posting them for $20 and then going back and you've knocked them down to $13.
So you're just gonna cut that time period out. Yeah, man, cutting that middleman out. We love just cheap t-shirts. We got some tank tops too.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not the good guy on this show. I want to make $1.
You're definitely the heel on this show.
Johnny is the Bernie Sanders of this podcast. Just give it all away. I'm trying to build a wall over here, and he's just giving it all away.
That's a great way to sum up this podcast. I'm the Bernie Sanders of this show, and you are trying to build a wall. That's amazing. Nothing could be more accurate. So we've got tank tops as well. And I want to talk about our logo real quick. Obviously, it's like a parody of the New Japan Pro Wrestling logo. But our boy Dalton Hemingway designed it up for us. And it's just super rad, super cool. So if you see Dalton, he'll be at the Let's Wrestle show with us. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. You see him there, tell him, hey, I like the new design. And Dalton's a good friend of the show. He's been on the show a few times. And
I'm not sure if I'm going to wear my new tank top to Let's Wrestle or if I'm going to wear it to Wrestlers Lab, because I only have the one. I do have last year's tank top. There's a few, hot dog stains on it and stuff, but it's still good.
It's just like mustard stains.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like mustard and ketchup, relish, whatever fell out of.
You wear it at barbecues. It's a tank top. It's not a good tank top unless there's a mustard stain on it.
Yeah,
so.
My new one's probably already got stains on it. I mean, we had
most likely
ribs and brisket the other day, so.
Nice. Oh man. Let's see. Speaking of social media, you guys can check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Main Event Pod. You guys can listen to the show on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, wherever you get your podcasts from. Most likely we're there. We have a hotline. That number is 929-260-3099. You guys can give us a ring there. You guys can leave us a text. Say, hey, I like the new tank tops. Where can I get one? And we'll tell you. We'll reply. We'll reply with a text. We're not like, A-list celebrities over here. We will reply directly to your text. Harmon or I. I don't know. One or the other. We'll reply. Or both if you're lucky enough.
I'll answer pretty quickly. Who the hell is this?
You definitely will.
I do not want your Chinese coffee.
What else? I think, let's see. Let's Wrestle. Coming up on Friday. Spoiler alert, we're doing commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Very excited about it. I say coming on Friday, but that is today, if you're listening to this, because this episode will drop on Friday. So, we're heading up to Orono for the debut or relaunch, however you want to look at it, of Let's Wrestle. It's going to be a dope card, man. I think it's a pretty small show or a pretty small card. I think there's only like 6 matches on the card, but it is quality over quantity on this one. It's very, very good. I'm excited for it. Guys like Matt Mahoney are going to be on the card, who I haven't seen in a little bit. We got all.
I'm excited to see all the boys from the Mainstay Posse wrestle singles matches.
That's what I was just going to say.
Prior to prior to the Vacation Land Cup, you know?
Yeah. It'd be a good tune-up for those guys. But, man, it's going to be really, really cool. There's a lot of talent on this. Fox Vineyards on the show. Kennedy Copeland, the cool people. I mean, I could go on. It's going to be a really dope show. You guys should check it out. It is this Friday, today. It's July 6th at Orono at the, the American Legion Post.
Yep.
So
right next to Orono House Pizza. Right
next there, yeah. Harmon and I will be there, along with a few of our buddies. Dalton Hemingway, one of them. Dave Dyer, another one, going to meet us there. We're going to have a great time. I haven't seen Dave in a while. So it's going to be really fun. And Harmon and I are going to try our best to do commentary. It's going to be...
Yeah, I think Jessica's going to come up and do pictures.
That's great, man. There we go. We got to get some pics from Jess because I'm still rocking like...
we're going to have pictures this time.
I'm still rocking like a profile pic from like 2008. So I got to really update that bad boy.
John, we weren't even podcasting then.
No, I know.
Somehow you went out and got headshots, though.
I did. I went out and got headshots.
You get that one with the Nirvana t-shirt on.
Yeah, the one with the Nirvana t-shirt. And I don't have any tattoos, and it's weird. But different man nowadays. So anyway, that's it. God, let's get into this interview with Grim. And I'll say, I mean, I always say interview, but I don't know, man. This is a pretty cool, chill conversation, I think, with Grim.
It's not really. We don't like ask all of these questions. We touch on a subject and roll with it. It's a conversation.
And he was a cool guy, man. I mean, he's a badass. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to like stray people away from his badassness, but
I don't want people to worry. Those weren't gunshots you hear. At least we're pretty sure there were not gunshots you hear in the background.
That they were. like DC always has gunshots.
The first one might have been a gunshot. The rest after that, you can hear the crackle, I think, of the fireworks.
Of the fireworks, yeah. It is.
There's a couple in there that may have been, gunfire. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So here it is in prep for his Wrestlers Laboratory title defense against the bad boy Joey Janella. Here is the Hitman for Hire, Mr. Grim. Welcome to the show, the Hitman for Hire, Mr. Grim. Mr. Grim, what's going on tonight, sir?
What's up, man? How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing real good. We're excited to have you on the show. I feel like we kind of know you a bit from Limitless, your time up here in Limitless. We've seen you a lot. But you've got a big match coming up on July 8th for Wrestlers Laboratory, which you are the Wrestlers Laboratory champion, by the way. And you're taking on Joey Janella. Joey Janella is challenging you, but in a weird twist, you've actually challenged him in a body bag match. So what's going on, man? Why did you want Joey Janella in this match?
All right, so this is the thing. I don't know if you remember back at Limitless where it was me versus Joey Janella.
I do, yes.
And if you've been paying attention to Limitless Wrestling, Joey is the only person in Limitless Wrestling who was able to keep my shoulders on the mat for 3 seconds.
So you want some redemption, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Nice.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, look at what he's doing right now. Joey is blowing up. And it's like he's, literally taking over, like taking the scene by storm. And I'm one of those guys who always gets overlooked. It's like some people are like, oh, who's Mr. Grimm? Everybody's just passing me by, and I'm not even getting the opportunity to shine. People don't know what I can do, but it's like, they look at Joey Janella, they look at, Ace Romero, and all these other people who are kind of blowing up right now. And honestly, I think that I'm on the same level as they are. So if I want to be taken serious, why not start with a person who's blowing up on the indie scene?
Right, with one of those guys, like a Joey Janela. Like the guy's got, obviously his spring break show like kind of went crazy, went viral. It's funny that you mentioned Ace Romero. His whole like that spot that he did that pounce like is going crazy right now. It's hitting national scenes, like ABC is picking it up, ESPN. I will say this, and I'm not just buttering you up because you're on the show. I have always been a fan of your version of your pounce. Like I think it's super badass. I prefer it over anybody else that's out on the indie scene right now. It comes out of nowhere. So I wanted to give you props on that, even though like Aces is kind of going crazy right now with the viral video. But your pounce is pretty insane, man. You have like this really athletic style for a big man. Were you always like athletic growing up, or how did that? Did you have to like kind of grow into that, or how'd that come about?
Well, growing up, I really didn't play sports.
Mm-hmm.
Funny story. Back when, before I was who I am today, I used to be like a little punk, honestly. Like, people would try to fight me, and, my mother had taught me, not to really fight. So instead of fighting, I would run.
Uh-huh.
So that helped me get faster. But then one day, I just decided, why am I running? So I started fighting back. And shit, I found out I could actually fight. So, like with the whole athletic, aspect, my agility, I believe, comes from, the fact that I was always running and I became fast. Then on top of that, when I was in high school, my mother, she bought me these shoes for when I was playing basketball, and they were called jump soles. So they were supposed to help you with your vertical leap and, help you be able to, like, dunk. So I wore those.
The ones that were, like, they had, like, the pad in the front and, like, no heel?
Yep, that's exactly what they were.
Oh, nice. I love that Harmon knew what that was.
I remember. I wanted some.
Yeah.
So, like, one day my mother bought me some of those, and I literally wore those every single day for, like, a couple of months. And then one day, like, I took them off and went to the gym, like, at school, and tried to dunk. And then I dunked, and I was like, oh, shit.
That's awesome.
So, with it being my first... So, like, with it being my first dunk, I was, like, it was a little shaky, so I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And then, I started mastering how to jump. So I started, jumping off of 1 foot. That's how it started. And then I started jumping off of 2 feet. So then it's like I'm a 5'9" guy, like 170 pounds, who's gliding, like doing, I wouldn't say I was doing things Vince Carter could do, but I was literally gliding and dunking on people.
Nice.
So that, that also helped because I never really forgot, because that muscle memory when it comes to jumping and stuff like that, that's how, like, I'm able to, if you've ever seen me, do like a moonsault from the second rope, I'm able to jump up to the second rope without even, touching the top rope. I don't need to do that. I can jump up, balance myself, and do the backflip at the same time. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of always been noticed. Like, I mean, I've seen you do like a 450 off the top before. I mean, there's just been things that I was like, man, this is a guy who's got some good size, and he can move like effortlessly, like around the ring and like go high, go low, like smash dudes. Like it's pretty impressive, man. And
now we know how he got his giant calves.
And now, yes, where those giant calves came from.
And look, the flipping also. I guess I can finally put this out there. I've been telling some people, but a lot of people don't know. But in high school, I also used to be on the cheerleading squad. So that's another thing.
That's out there now, buddy. That's out there on the on a podcast. That's cool, though.
Guess what? If anybody has anything negative to say about it, just imagine being the only guy on a team full of girls.
I do, absolutely. So smart, actually.
That's how my buddies got me tricked into doing track my senior year. They're like, yeah, but there's so many girls on the team.
Yeah, well, it's funny
I'm
too.
300 pounds, like just do track.
Just throw the shot put, you'll be fine. Oh, that's funny. So you're a kid, you're growing up. You said you don't really play sports until did you pick up basketball in high school, or did you start to play basketball like once you could learn you could jump?
Yeah, in ninth grade, I tried out for the basketball team, and I didn't make it. Wait, was that ninth or 10th grade? It was 10th grade. I tried out, didn't make it, and then I played. What was it for the spring league? So after they saw me on the spring league, they were like, "Oh, hey, this kid can play." So, I kind of stuck with it, and the coach picked me up. So as soon as I get a spot on the basketball team, my mother, she took me out of that school and transferred me to another school. Once I transferred there, I lost my spot. The spot that I worked hard for to get, I lost it all over again. I had to start all over because the coach, he already had his team, and I tried out, didn't make it, and it was like, damn.
Yeah.
So, it sucked.
Yeah. I think that's just tough transitioning anyway in school. And then, when you go to a school that, already has a set team, just in any sport, it's tricky to kind of get your way on there, especially if you haven't been playing, your whole life. If you're, kind of just picking up a sport and, starting to get good at it. If you're not, amazing at it, if you're not, the MJ, then, you're probably not going to...
I can say not making that basketball team was probably one of the best things that could happen to me. Because due to the fact that I, didn't make the team, one of my friends, they said, "Hey, why don't you try being on the wrestling team?"
Nice.
So that's where the whole wrestling, I started, my 11th grade year. And honestly, wrestling made me a better person.
Nice. So you picked up wrestling. That's very cool. How did that work out? How did that transit? Was it just...
Were you a big pro wrestling fan before that, or did it start after?
I was, but I always wanted to be a wrestler. I would always wrestle my brothers and the little beat up buddies, but I just didn't know how to get into it. So me, I always try to stay active with any way that I could. So I decided to do the wrestling team, and my first year, remember I said I was 170, 180 pounds.
Right.
So the captain, he was 189, and that was his spot. So I had to bump up to 215.
Wow.
I had to wrestle people. Yeah.
That's a huge jump.
It is.
That's a tough weight class too.
So my first year wrestling, I was wrestling people 200. 215. That was what I was wrestling in. My first year, I went, 5-5.
Were you still 170, or did you have to gain weight to do this, or how did that work?
I ended up getting to 180 something.
Yeah.
But that was still, a big jump.
Yeah. And you're a kid, so it's how much weight can you gain in that amount of time? You're just... When
you're like Johnny, you could gain none.
Well, no, but you're, when you're, whatever, 16, 17, 18, your metabolism is through the roof. And I think it's hard to gain weight, for a specific purpose, like that. So
yeah, you're eating entire large pizzas and still losing a pound a day.
Well, right.
Exactly.
And then and then you're trying to wrestle dudes who have, 30 pounds on you. That's tough, So how did it go?
Real dick move, coach.
Yeah, real dick move, coach. So you were 5-5.
Yeah, it went good. 5-5. And that was my first year wrestling. It's, a lot of people, they do it. When they're kids, they start
right.
When they're little, and then go from there. Me, my first year wrestling was my 11th grade year.
Yeah, I tried.
That,
I was gonna say I tried wrestling when I was really little, and then I was like, oh, where are the ropes? Where's the ring? I wanted to go there dressed as Marty Jannetty so bad, and my parents wouldn't let me. But
that tells you how old Johnny is.
Yes, with a Marty Jannetty. Hey, come on, man! He dropped Vince Carter earlier. He dropped Vince Carter. That's a nice late '90s, early 2000s NBA name. Come on.
Hey, he was one of the best dunkers of my time.
Yeah, man, he was the man. Yeah, for sure.
But so my first year, 11th grade year, I'm just learning the ropes of wrestling and really didn't know too much. So what I did was I wrestled. Then my senior year, I played football. And nice. I lie to you not, wrestling made me way better in football.
Yeah, that's what they say. Those two things go hand in hand.
I had no clue that I was going to do that, but it did. So it was like my very first year playing varsity football was my senior year. So they didn't really know what they wanted to do with me defensive-wise, but they had me as like a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
I was like, because I could block. So they had me as a blocking tight end and like special teams. So one day I talked to my coach because I got tired of being on the sideline, and I was like, hey, Coach, I want to, try to play defense. He was like, where do you want to play? I was like, maybe DN.
Yes, like that's totally what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So he ended up putting me on the D line. I think I was like a defensive tackle or something like that. So the very first game that I got put in, we played against a team. They were called Eleanor Roosevelt. I think they were like the top 10 in Maryland. I had 4 sacks, put 2 quarterbacks out, and I forgot how many tackles I had.
Jeez, man.
So you were just a beast. You were. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like your traits are like.
I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but
he's like the water boy out there.
Yeah. I was gonna say like you're
the water boy.
Bobby Boucher in the field.
It's just the fact of, I was always overlooked. Like, even now, like, in wrestling, I'm still being overlooked.
Yeah.
And, me being overlooked has helped me become the person that I am. Because you get a guy who nobody knows, on a football team, and, he plays my first game playing defense was the third game of the season.
Yeah.
And I ended up leading the team in sacks, came in second in tackles, and got voted to be on the PG County All-Star team.
Jeez, man, just out of nowhere. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, me being overlooked has always motivated me to be better.
Yeah.
But then the very next year, like my senior year, when I, went out to play, to be on the wrestling team again, guess who was the captain? I was the captain this year. The guy who was the captain last year, he got bumped up to 215.
Oh, no.
I was wrestling at 189.
Oh, nice. There you go. Okay. Nice.
I went undefeated all the way until counties.
Damn, man.
He must have hated you.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I would say about 80% of my matches didn't last longer than 40 seconds.
So you're pinning dudes left and right. You weren't winning on points. Nice.
No, it wasn't winning by points at all.
Nice.
So how long does Joey Janella got?
Yeah, right? How long before you pin Joey Janella?
Honestly, I mean, look, Joey Janella, went from a roof onto a burning whatever the fuck with...
Yeah, he should be dead. We know.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I know that I'm a tough motherfucker, but I don't think you can kill that man until he wants to die.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my questions too. Is like, how do you prepare for a guy like Joey Janella who seemingly has gone through everything and always comes out not unscathed, obviously, but he lives to fight another day. How do you prepare for a guy like that, where you're going to have to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at this guy?
Honestly, with a guy like him, I don't think you can prepare. Like, you just have to go out there and go off of instinct. Like, if you have to go out there and pick up the ring and beat him with it, then that's what the fuck you got to do.
Yeah. So I want to backtrack just a little bit. So you do high school, you're wrestling, you become captain, you become super successful at wrestling and football, picking it up very late. After high school, when does pro wrestling come into? Was it was there a seamless transition, or was there some time in between?
There was a lot of time in between.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything about wrestling, honestly.
Yeah.
So I ended up, getting out of high school. I had offers from colleges, but my grades weren't good, so I couldn't, I wasn't able to get on into the school.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up playing semi-pro football.
Yep.
I played semi-pro football, and I did mixed martial arts and Muay Thai.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. That's very cool. Nice.
So as I'm doing, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, and playing football, I had a bowl game in Florida. It was I was playing for the DC Explosion at the time, and we played against this team called the Plattsburgh North Stars or something like that. And they were like, I think the top 10 in the country, and we were like the underdogs in that game, and we ended up beating them like I want to say like 30 or 40 something to 7.
Oh wow.
Nice. So after that
Plattsburgh,
game,
New York had the best football team.
I don't know how the hell it happened, but they had a very good team. And like my coach, like 2 weeks after that, he came up to me and said, "Hey man, are you interested in like playing like college ball?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I always wanted to." And he was like, "All right, well, coach, they've he hit me up and asked me about like some of the good players that will possibly, be interested in coming to like school and play." And he was like, I saw, showed him some of your stuff and he liked you. So they want you to, come play for them. So I was like, all right, cool. So I left, started playing college ball. I got redshirted. And like later on in the season, the fullback, he didn't make grades. So they like unredshirted me and then put me in.
Where was this again?
This was Virginia University of Lynchburg.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I played a couple of games there, and the season ended. And the coach, like during the off season, he called me and said he was interested in having me back. Wanted to see what was going on. So I was like, yeah, I intended on coming back, but like my van broke down.
Oh no.
So my van broke down and I wasn't able to go back, because the school was like 3 hours and 40 minutes away from me.
Right.
So I really couldn't like travel back and forth to school anymore. So I took a hiatus a little bit and I went back to doing security. So one day my friend hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, would you like to do you want to do security for a wrestling show?" And I was like, all right, cool, why not? Get paid to watch wrestling pretty much. So
right.
I went there, and I'm not sure if you know any of these people. Well, I know you know some of them, but the very first person I saw when I walked in was Mia Yim. I know you know who that is.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Oh, my gosh. Like, when I saw her, I was like, I had, like, the biggest crush on her, like, from the moment I laid eyes on her.
Yeah. Like the jaw drops, the tongue rolls out. Yep, for sure, man.
But it was her, Greg Excellence, Black G's, Christian York, and there was some other people in there. I'm not sure if you know the names that I will put out there, but I met them, and then I started networking. I told them, I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I just didn't know how to get into it. So what they did is, they told me, "Hey, man, you got to find a school and train at a school and, go from there." So what I did, I Googled wrestling schools in Maryland.
Yep.
So it was one school that I tried out for. I don't know if you remember the dude Gilbert that was like in WWF.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I went to his school and tried out. I did a little tryout, and he was like, "All right, cool. Well, now here's how much you'd have to pay a month." And I was like, "All right, cool." Yeah, so I went there for a while, but then I kind of stopped going because it was like a little too expensive.
Yeah.
So then I found another school. They were called EWA, Eastern Wrestling Alliance. So I went there and started training, and that's kind of where like everything transpired.
Yeah, that's where it clicked there. Like you felt. Did you feel more like comfortable there, or like did you fit in more there? Like, did that?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I fit in because over there was very weird.
Yeah.
Now, just remember, like the type of person that I was. I came from, being that guy on the wrestling team and, playing football, being like one of the one of the key players on the football team and stuff. And then I get to wrestling, and they have this mentality where, oh, you're green, you have to listen to what we say.
Right.
Oh, you're green. Like, and they, like, a lot of times they have the mindset of, hey, you pretty much have to shut the fuck up when we're talking to you because we've been in the business longer than you.
Right.
Now, one of the issues that I had, because, like, once I told you back when I was younger, I used to run away from fights. Once I learned how to, that I could fight, I was always fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very hot-tempered.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what people don't realize is even though we're in the wrestling business, I'm a grown man at the end of the day. And that was the mentality that I had. So people would say something, and I would, like, kind of bark at them. And I'm like, who the fuck you think you talking to? Like that. Because, where I came from, when I was living in D.C., like, you literally had to fight. Like, that's what we had to do because at any given time, somebody from, the rival neighborhood will come up to you, start something with you, and we would be fighting.
Yeah.
So I still had that mentality, and I had to learn to, not have that mentality. I had to learn to just shut the fuck up. That was my issue.
Right.
Was this back when the mayor smoked crack?
A little bit. But yeah, it's like it took me a while to learn what this business was. And it also took me a while to learn that a lot of people have the high school mentality where it's like, they say stuff, they act cool in your face, but as soon as you turn your back, then that's when they want to talk stuff about you. And I had to learn that, I can't fight everybody. I could, and I'll probably win the majority of the times, but at the end of the day, what would that get me?
Right.
So...
Yeah, like at the end of the day, like eventually you're going to lose, like the like the bigger picture. And
World's longest gauntlet match.
World's longest gauntlet. So who did you train under there? Like, did anybody stick out? Like,
yeah. I started off with a guy named the Baltimore Butcher Blood. He he started off training me. Then I started getting trained by this guy named Chris Burns, and oh my gosh, we were literally doing the Tennessee spot like almost every time.
What do you mean?
But,
what's that mean? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so the Tennessee spot is literally where, at the beginning, you got the heel, y'all lock up, he pushes you back, gives you like an arm drag.
Oh,
and,
okay, I got you.
Yeah. And then, so we were literally doing that every single day. So I stopped going on the days that he was training and went under, the guy who I call my trainer. His name is Matt Wild. He is the reason that I am the way that I am right now. Because he motivated me to be different. He challenged me to not be the average big man like everybody else. He told me, hey, look, you're a big guy, you're athletic, you can move. Why don't you utilize it? Like, because when I first started, I had like this football gimmick. And the thing that, like, I would say it was probably the worst decision I could have made career-wise because the indie scene was oversaturated with football gimmicks.
Yeah, it's funny because I think it's like that's what a lot of people come from, and so people know it, and then they like that's what they know, and so like they kind of use that to break in. That's funny though.
And that's exactly what I did, use it to break in, but in the end it hurt me more, than it helped because I wasn't getting bookings because people were like, oh, hey, we got the D-line. We got Mr. Touchdown. We got this other guy. Why do we need you?
Yeah, we got football players, man. We need something different. We need a dude that hey, do you have a body bag? We could use a guy with a body bag. So you had a football gimmick, and then when did the transition come to becoming the Hitman for Hire?
It
Mr.
started
Grimm?
because I was in a tag team with a guy named Sidney Porter, and we were called the I think we were called the Hit Squad or something like that. Something Hit Squad. And I was trying to figure out, what gimmick could I do that was different that not a lot of people were doing, because I had to find something to where I could stand out, because the football gimmick, I can't waste any more years on a gimmick that wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I went and looked on the indie scene, looked around and saw, say, hey, who does this gimmick? What about a bounty hunter? Or, what about a police or whatever? And then I was like, what about a hitman? Who's actually doing a hitman gimmick? And I was looking, and I didn't really see anybody doing a hitman gimmick.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I could be, that hitman. So, everything started going, coming into place when I met a comic book artist. I met him I had posted a picture of an umbrella that my kids had that was from DC Comics. It had the DC comic characters on it. And he liked it. So I was like, who is this guy? I looked, and he was a comic book artist. So I hit him up, and I told him exactly what I was doing. I was a wrestler. I was looking to, switch things up. And I, asked him if he could, draw something up for me so I could get, an idea. What he drew up, that literally changed everything. Because he drew a picture of, it was a guy with a skull, with a hoodie on with no sleeves, and it was a tombstone with my jersey number on it.
Jesus, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
So right there, it was it started to feel real. And it was I'm actually, getting rid of this last gimmick. I'm burying this gimmick and becoming something else. So from there, he drew up, he also drew up my logo, the logo that you see on my briefcase.
Uh-huh.
He drew that up, the logo you see on. Yep. He drew that up. So it's just crazy how everything went. I got the gear made, and the first gear that I had was me with a white shirt, a white sleeveless shirt, and I had on some bikers. And I would wrestle with black gloves on. So that worked for a while, and then I wanted to switch it up, and I decided to get the singlet, the singlet that I have now, and I had to ask myself again, because I don't want to be like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I want to do things that other people really aren't doing, and I was like, how many people actually? You see it more now, but back when I first did it, you didn't really see that many people with the singlet that I had, the style of singlet that I had.
Right. So, no, I think you still stand out with it. I like your gear, man. I think the whole get up is cool. I like that you were very privy to know that a gimmick and a solid gimmick at that was important. That you were just oh, I can wrestle really well, but I need something else. I need something else to stand out. I love that you found that.
Yeah, and to ask a comic book artist is probably the smartest thing you could have done.
Right, because then you get to just become a comic book character, and what's cooler than that, right? That's amazing. Exactly. That's so cool, man.
So I'll cut this short, but
no, go for it. Don't go for it.
Skipping forward, the whole body bag came from. This is how the body bag came about. One day, I was just minding my business, and one of my mentors, her name is Nala Rose. She hit me up and was like, yo, Amazon has body bags on stuff for $20. Take that information. She was like, take that information and do what you will with it.
Yes.
So,
a big fucking hit, by the way.
I literally went on Amazon and bought the body bag.
Yes. That's amazing.
After that, I had a match, and then after the match was over, I body bagged the guy, and the crowd was just what the hell just happened?
Dude, I remember the first time I saw you put somebody in a body bag. I think it was
John Alba. He still talks about it all the time.
No, it was John Alba, I think. That's the first time I saw you put somebody in a body bag, and it
was also the first
amazing.
time we saw you do the spinning tombstone, which about blew my head off my shoulders. I was like,
true. When am I going to see? Yeah. When am I going to see a spinning tombstone again? It's been a while. You got to nail that thing. I love that thing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is this. I like showing people that I have more in my arsenal. So it's like, I'll give you something, and then I'm like, if you want to see it again, like, you have to come to the show that I'm on, because you never know when I'm going to hit it.
Yeah. I love it. I love that you don't hit it every time. It's fantastic. I think it's great. It's like, it hooks you in, man.
It's never happening.
Right. Yeah. Stepping back to the body bag for a quick second. How are other wrestlers usually pretty like open to getting in there, or do you have to kind of charm them a little bit and talk them into like,
yeah, John, hey, they're all back drawing straws to see who gets to do it.
Like, all right, who's going in the body bag tonight? The first time you presented that idea to someone, were they like, I don't know, man. Like, how did that go?
Like, I'm the first guy who got body bag. He was actually cool with it. Like, nice. I would say about 90% of people were actually cool with it.
Very cool. I love it. I think it's so cool, man. It's unique. Nobody else is doing shit like that. It's so good. Very
like
cool.
When people have an issue with it, they're like, "Oh man, you know, I can't breathe." I'm like, "Yo, I sleep in my own body bag, so you'll be good."
You'll be fine. You'll be just fine. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually done a live stream inside my body bag before. So.
What a maniac! I love that. Jeez, man.
There's something wrong with you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do, and that like going back to this match. You know, if people think that I'm afraid to get body bag, I don't give a shit about being body bag. That's my element. Like, I look at it like this. You know, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So if I'm body bagging people, I'm bound, you know, for somebody to try to body bag me. So the best way to be prepared for it is to put yourself in it.
It's very Undertaker in a casket match way to look at it. I love that. Very cool. I wanted to ask, what was it? I had it written down here. I wanted to touch back on just Wrestlers Laboratory in general. So you're the first Wrestlers Lab champ. I wanted to get the backstory on that for our listeners who don't know, or maybe are checking out Wrestlers Lab for the first time. How did you become their first champ?
All right, so I was the Nucleus champion at first, and you know, one day, like, I had a match against Yuta, and it was supposed to be for the Nucleus championship, and you know, they took the beaker away and saying, "Oh, it's not gonna be for the Nucleus championship anymore." And I'm looking around like, what the hell is going on? Like,
hello, that's
switching
mine.
my match on me. So then, you know, they pull out this belt, and I'm like. They said it's now going to be for the Wrestlers Laboratory Championship. I'm like, oh, shit.
Nice.
Like, I legitimately had no clue that was going to happen.
You left you in the dark on that? Oh, my God.
They kayfaped me, bastard.
Chris and Mike, what are you guys doing over there? Unbelievable.
Slippery sons of bitches right there.
Those bastards.
No, I'm looking around here. I'm looking at some of the matches you've had. You fought Ryback. You fought... Yes. You fought AR Fox before.
Twice.
You've wrestled Vacant.
What was Ryback like? I'm just curious. What was working with Ryback like? A former WWE guy, left on like weird terms. Kind of has a weird, you know, kind of stigma cloud around him, I guess. But was he cool, or what was that like?
Ryback was very cool, and you know, the match was going really good. Until so I went to dive on him, and instead of like feeding me his body, he turns to the side and tries to catch me like a baby.
Oh no!
Like, this is like a 280-pound guy like going to dive, and that didn't.
I don't care how big you are. It's gonna be tough to pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he tried to catch me like I was a baby, and my leg smacked the mat, like the floor. Like, I literally thought that my leg was broken.
Eesh.
So, that's how that went. I mean, but other than that, the match went really good.
Nice.
Other than almost breaking my leg, it was fine.
No, it's weird. Like everybody, like he's one of those guys that's like super vocal, and like I never know like really how to like take him, because like sometimes I see stuff that he does, I'm like, oh, he seems like an alright dude. He seems like a cool guy. But then like there's some other stuff that I'm like, that's a little weird. Like I don't know. So
yeah,
you never know.
Sometimes I'm like, that guy is way too into his own gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
I mean, he was really cool, and then after the match, he told me and the promoter that he wanted to work with me again. So that really meant a lot.
Did you guys ever work again? Because I thought was that never?
No, we haven't had the chance to work again.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. So as far as July 8th at Wrestlers Lab, Joey Janella, you're gonna defend your belt. I don't want you to think past Joey Janella, obviously, but let's just say you put this bad boy in a body bag. What's next for Mr. Grimm down the line in Wrestlers Laboratory? Is there anybody else on the roster? I mean, there's a ton of debuts on this show. Is there anybody else on the roster that you'd like to face down the line?
I would say I wouldn't say on the roster, but on this card, it's a couple of people that I would like to square off against. One, Joe Black, Adrian Armour, David Starr, Ace Austin. I don't know. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all just hear that loud boom?
I did. What was that?
I'm hoping it's fireworks.
Yeah, it's DC. I mean, it's always gunshots over here, but
Jeez, man. Yeah.
So, yeah, David Starr.
I think I saw a promo. I think I saw a promo today from Joe Black that I really enjoyed.
He's a guy that I would, it's like we've never had the chance to, lock up with each other. But yeah, and I don't know what it is about the Ducks. Like I love watching the Ugly Ducklings.
Yeah.
But, like I want to have a match with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. We talked to Chris and Mike last week, and I've never seen them live before. I've seen some videos online and stuff, but like I'm excited to see those guys, and that's reassuring that you just said that, because now I'm like extra excited to see those guys. I mean, they're taking on our boys MSP, so I mean I can't really root for them, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean another guy like who y'all probably really don't know too much about, like Barrington Hughes. I actually want to go, one-on-one with him as well.
He's a big dude, man.
Yeah, I mean, but like when it comes to, being the Wrestlers Laboratory champion, I don't care who I'm in there with. Like, I'm going to bring it every single time. Like, I don't care if it's, Mark, the announcer guy. If he stands in front of me, I'm going to whip his ass like I would do Joey Janella.
I want you to pummel Haggerty. I want you to pummel him. Just kidding. Not really kidding, but seriously.
I think Johnny's going to get in the ring with Haggerty. So.
I think I'm going to get in the ring with Haggerty at some point. Jeez, man. No, man. Awesome, man. Anything else you wanna sell us or sell our listeners on Wrestlers Lab before we get you out of here and get you back on track here?
Well, I want them to know the importance of this body bag match. For one, it is the very first body bag match that Wrestlers Laboratory, has held.
Yeah. That
alone, especially being on their first inaugural show, their first show by themselves, that should say a lot. Then on top of that, you have a guy who, is just an enigma. You never know what he's going to do. You never know if he's going to die in the ring, if he's going to kill somebody, go through a table, have his, thumb cut off. You never know
you never know which Joey Janella you're going to get too. Is he going to be like happy, like funny, like having fun Joey Janella, or is he going to be like super serious and pissed off and ready to run through a wall Joey Janella,
Exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly.
Now,
that alone, should say a lot. Like, he's literally a guy who wrestles at PWG. He's your WWN Live, champion right now. That's the same title that Keith Lee, who is now in NXT, had.
Yeah.
Right.
That should say a lot about what this match is going to be.
Yeah.
But he won that from what? Austin Theory, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Austin Theory's huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, as
Harmon, what were you
former Nucleus champion, do you see anybody in the Nucleus 19 Battle Royal that should be representing the Nucleus Championship?
Oh, good question, Herman.
Honestly, I would say whoever can outlast everybody in that match, because I look at Battle Royals kind of like, football playoff games. You never know what you're going to get. You never know who's going to step up. You never know which underdog is going to knock off, the top seed.
Yeah,
all it takes is for a guy like Barrington Hughes, for him to piss off the wrong person and everybody turns on him and end up throwing him out the ring. Like right now, I look at him as being, the person who should win. He's the biggest
definitely
guy in the ring. There's, on paper, he's probably projected to win that match.
Yeah, he's definitely the favorite. I mean, just from his size alone, I think guys like him and Gamble, they've got that favorite because of their size. So yeah, but like you said, all it takes is one. All it takes is one move. 1 second for those guys to be off balance, and then a swift drop kick or something by somebody like
Isana
or Chris the Hype Henry, like somebody like that could just like capitalize on a mistake, and there you go. The favorite is now out of the match, and it's
even Haggerty pulling down the top rope as he's getting drop kicked.
Right, anything could happen. Yeah,
that's all it takes. So it's like you never know what's going to happen in these matches. So in Battle Royals, Royal Rumbles, you can't really have a favorite to win. Yeah. You can, but you should not have a favorite to win because at any given moment, they can gang up on that one person and he can get eliminated.
Yeah.
Because one man against, especially like Barrington, him against one man, 2 men, 3 men, I mean, I'll pick him any day. But when you have one man against like 19, 20.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough pick. So hopefully, whoever wins that match can live up to the hype of the first Nucleus Championship, which was yourself, or the Nucleus Champion, which was yourself. So
I hope they can too, and maybe if Chris and Mike are interested, I would propose having. I wouldn't say really a title versus title match, but a champion versus champion.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah, I like that. And it's kind of like how, like the IC belt for a while was kind of used as like the catapult.
Number one contender was like.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like hey, this guy's gonna challenge for the title someday. That's very cool. I like that. I love a nice, like a mid-card title, like the IC belt is just fantastic to me. So I like the Nucleus Championship. You are the Wrestlers Laboratory champion. I see good things for you and Wrestlers Laboratory in the future, man. Chris, where can people follow you on social media? Do you have that stuff queued up?
Yeah. First thing is what I tell people, if you go on the Google search, go to Google, type in the Hitman for Hire Mr. Grimm with 1 M, and a lot of my content will pop up. The very first thing that'll pop up is my Facebook like page. Mm-hmm. But on Instagram you can put in Hitman, all this is one word, Hitman, the number 4 hire _ Mr. Grimm. That's on Instagram. But by the time you put Hitman, the number 4 and higher, and the _ it should already pop up.
Beautiful.
So that shouldn't be an issue on that one. You can also go on Twitter. Just go to Twitter, put, at Mr. Grimm, that's one word, then _ IS, the number 4 _ higher. That's nice. How you can find me on Twitter.
Very good, very good. And what do you get coming up down the road besides the Wrestlers Laboratory July 8th show? Where are you going to be? Where can people come out and see you?
Well, on Saturday, I'll be wrestling for the Wild Samoan Samu and Lance
cool.
and Hawaii. So
Nice.
I'll be there. And then, Sunday, Wrestlers Laboratory. And the next week, let me look at my schedule. All right, so next week after that, I'll be in Rhode Island on Friday. I'll be defending my Apex Championship for Nova Promotions. And I don't really have anything, on that Saturday and that Sunday. But then on July 21st, I'll be in Delaware. And I could be popping up on the 22nd at Innovative.
Nice. Very neat. I like it, man. Yeah, I definitely encourage our listeners to come out and see it, man. You put on a hell of a show. You're bad. Joey is the bad boy. I will say you are a bad man. Good luck on Sunday. We will see you there. Harmon and I, we're gonna make the trek out. So we'll see you in person, man. And Harmon, any last words for Mr. Grimm here before we let him go?
No, just put maximum spin on the tombstone with Joey Janella. Just maximum spin.
Could you? Here we go. Here's a spot pitch for you. Could you put Joey Janella in the body bag, then do the spinning tombstone? Just throwing that out there.
I'm just saying there's no telling what's going to happen.
I'm just saying, if anybody could take that, Joey Janella's got to do it. So
I know the first thing I'm going to look for when I get there is things that Joey Janella is going to jump off.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing Grimm's going to look for. He's like, okay, there's the stairs over there.
Let me remove all of these items.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
We'll stick them over behind our merch table.
Yes, we'll hide them for you. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Mr. Grimm, thank you so much for coming on tonight, man. I feel bad for Joey Janella this Sunday because I know you're going to bring it to him. So thank you so much, man. And like I said, good luck on Sunday. And we will catch you there, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime.
And Johnny's not in a body bag. Way to go, buddy.
I'm not in a body bag. I got out of there unscathed. Oh, my God. Whew. Not in a body bag. I didn't say anything dumb.
You're claustrophobic too, aren't you? If I remember
I don't think so. I'm not too claustrophobic.
Oh.
You know what I am?
You don't like heights.
What's that?
You don't like heights.
No, heights I'm fine with. Vertigo though, like spinning around, don't like it. Like I could never take the Cesaro swing. Couldn't do it. I get dizzy. I get dizzy really easily. So
the teacups kill you.
Teacups, yeah, don't do the teacups. But
tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah. But I think the important thing here is that I'm currently not in a body bag. Mr. Grimm seemed to like us okay enough to not put us in body bags. So, man, like I said before, I Joey Janella, man, he's got it coming.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, like independent wrestling right now. If your name's Joey Janella, Sami Callihan, you can pretty much do whatever you want,
Yeah.
Walter.
Yeah.
These are the people running independent wrestling right now.
Yeah. But Mr. Grimm's gonna put a stomp on Joey Janella on Sunday, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. We're both going to be there as very proud sponsors. We're going to have some hats for sale. Speaking of which, I'll bring some hats to Let's Wrestle if people want to buy them out of the trunk of my, out of the back of my car or something, out of the back of my truck.
Yeah,
sure.
We're not bringing shirts. Buy your own.
Yeah, buy your own.
Teespring.com.
Yeah, the cheap plug. No, man, big thank you to Mr. Grimm for coming on. That was so much fun. I loved hearing like his backstory. He's one of those guys that like you just don't know, like you don't know about, until you hear it from him. So it's cool to see like how he kind of broke in and how he kind of found his way into pro wrestling, and how he still feels pretty underrated or overlooked, I guess. Right. I should say, like just overlooked, and he's pissed off about it, and he wants to make a statement about it, and I love that. It's nothing fuels that fire more than being underappreciated. So I think it's a good motivator for him, and I think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with here. I think he's one of those guys that is like, you ask me in a year what Mr. Grimm is doing, and I think he's gonna break out like within the year. I think he's gonna be awesome. So that's it, man. Harmon, you ready for this crazy fucking weekend we got going on?
I am. I just have some congratulations in order here.
Mm-hmm.
Ace Romero is blowing up Twitter. Him and Anthony Gaines had a match, and they did a spot where Ace tosses Anthony Gaines 15 feet into the crowd.
Yeah, it's getting picked up
everywhere, over 1 million views. So, congratulations, Ace Romero.
Yeah, it's getting picked up everywhere. ESPN, ABC.
Yeah, Sports Center. It was on like some Canadian show was tweeting about it. Also, Limitless Wrestling, their YouTube page is now up over 100,000 subscribers.
Fantastic. Good for them, man. So cool.
They released some pretty cool videos too. So go check out Limitless Wrestling's YouTube page.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Vacation Land Cup. Super excited about. I mean, we'll talk about that more like as we get closer to it later on in the month, but holy fuck, keep your ear out and your eyes out for Vacation Land Cup. It's so cool what they're doing. So,
congratulations to your nemesis, Jeff Cannonball, also.
Yes, congratulations to Jeff Cannonball
and Tara Calloway. Good job.
Good job, kids. Look at you guys. Engaged? Come on. Amazing. Love you guys. So good.
You might have just saved yourself an ass whooping, Johnny.
I'm kissing up to Jeff Cannonball so bad right now because he threatened me in a men's room once. But no, I mean, that's good. All joking aside, that's fantastic. I love when, when two people in the biz, they come together. It's fantastic. I love it. Good for those guys. I love it.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's the show. Harmon, where can people find you on social media, my man?
At Harmon316 on Twitter and at Bob Harmon on Instagram. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah. You never go on Twitter. I love that you consistently plug your Twitter. I mean your Instagram. I love that you consistently plug your Instagram and you never use it ever.
Nope.
Yeah. It's like
I'm on Instagram all the time checking out videos and stuff, but I don't post anything.
Yeah. You don't even know your own handle. It's so good. I love it. I use Instagram for more personal stuff than wrestling. So I don't like I've got a lot of pictures of my kid on there and stuff that I want really.
Yeah. You do a lot of searching for spank bank material. And... It's
true. Yep. Hoppy, floppy hops or whatever that is.
Yeah. I'm not looking at that yet. I haven't been approved apparently.
Oh, really? Yeah. I got approved instantly. They love me. Well, they love me over there. Anyway, well, you guys can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Main Event Pod. I'm on Twitter at Johnny Fashion. That's kind of like my only form of social media that I really like to, kind of mix business with pleasure at Johnny Fashion. Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio. We're there. Hotline 929-260-3099. Give us a ring. Give us a text. Like Harmon mentioned earlier, we got the Teespring store. Got some dope-ass shirts and tanks designed by Dalton Hemingway. And we got some stickers and all kinds of fun stuff over at Teespring that Harmon's been throwing up there for some really, really good prices. So if you guys want to support this podcast, it's not going to cost you too much. And it's gonna be fantastic. We'd love to see people out there at shows wearing the new design. So please get into it. That's it, man. That's it. Harmon, thanks for joining us, man. And
no, thank you.
No, thank you. And I am really looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be exhausting, but I am really looking forward to spending it with you and all of my wrestling friends. So. All right. Well, that's it. Harmon, thanks for joining me, as always. Listeners at home, thanks for listening. We will catch you later.
Whatever you do, if you're following me on Instagram, don't go and look at what I've liked. It's embarrassing.
Talking about wrestling from the day in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.